Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development and Renewable Energy, Ms. Hilda Kelshell, Country Coordinator, GCF Enhance Direct Project Access, Ms. Amanda Shillingford, the Technical Officer in the EDA Office, and Mr. Kelvin Vidal, the Chairperson of the National Steering Committee, Global Environment Facility Small Grants Program. Today we are here to launch component 3 of the EDA project, which we see as a significant milestone for the Ministry of Environment as we seek to expedite project implementation in 2022. To provide us with a brief project feedback, overview this morning, I'd like to call on Ms. Hilda Kelshell, who is the coordinator of the project. Ms. Kelshell, please.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Protocol has been established. Thank you for taking the time to be part of today's landmark event, the official launch of Component 3 of the Green Climate Fund Enhanced Direct Access Project, which aims to enhance the resilience of communities to climate impacts through tangible adaptation benefits. We are very excited, elated in fact, that we have finally reached this milestone. In 2016, the Green Climate Fund announced a pilot initiative for enhancing direct access, with the objective of the pilot being to allow the fund to effectively operationalize its enhanced direct access modality at the subnational, national, and regional level through public and private entities. In response to the request for proposal, 3 Eastern Caribbean islands, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and Grenada, presented a joint funding proposal to the GCF. The project, entitled Integrated Physical Adaptation and Community Resilience through an Enhanced Direct Access Pilot in the Public, Private, and Civil Society sectors in the Caribbean, Small Island Developing States. This was approved for funding by the GCF on March 1st, 2018. Cabinet advised approval for the signing of the subsidiary agreement on June 25th, 2019. The Department of Environment in Antigua and Dominica is the accredited entity to the GCF. It leads the project at the regional level, whilst the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, and Kalinago Upliftment is the executing entity responsible for the implementation of the EDA project activities at the national level. The EDA project has 5 components which will be implemented in Dominica. However, our focus today will be on component 3. But before we get to that component, we'll provide a brief overview of the other components. Component 1 seeks to establish transparent decision-making processes and build capacity. Under this component, the Project Management Committee was established, and projects selected under Component 2 were approved by the National Climate Change Committee, which is the technical advisory committee for the project, and endorsed by the PMC. Under Component 2, an award of $3 million in grant funding is available for adaptation interventions in public infrastructure projects targeting ecosystem services, drainage systems, and to improve resilience of watersheds. The projects selected are the strengthening of national forests and watersheds resilience. The goal is to reestablish forests lost by climate change actions. This project was submitted by the Forestry Division of the Ministry of Environment. Project number 2, rehabilitation of drains and culverts from Point Michel to Soufriere. The project will restore and improve the drainage capacity of the section of the road to Dominica's road safety standards through the clearing of landslides and blocked earth drains and construction and replacing drainage infrastructure along the route. The project was submitted by the Ministry of Public Works. Project number 3, disaster risk management, which involves the introduction of vetiver grass barriers as an ecosystem-based approach in further enhancing the resilience of the agricultural sector. This project focuses on reducing the impacts of natural disaster, improving disaster preparedness, and integrating disaster risk management in the agricultural program planning and executing exercise. This project was submitted by the Ministry of Agriculture. Under Component 4, an award of US $2 million in concessional micro-revolving loans is available for adaptation in vulnerable homes and businesses. The Government Housing Loans Board was selected and approved by Cabinet as a service provider in March 2021. Under this component, individuals in the public and private sector can obtain soft loans of up to $7,500 US at interest rate of 3% to undertake adaptations such as installation of solar panels, concrete roofs, hurricane shutters in their homes and businesses. As mentioned earlier, our attention today is on Component 3 of the EDA project, which focuses on community resilience to climate impacts enhanced through tangible adaptation benefits. Under this component, US $1 million will be provided for small adaptation grants to civil society organizations, community-based organizations, and non-government organizations to undertake community adaptation projects. This component will demonstrate enhanced direct access for non-governmental organizations, including community-based and civil society organizations, through an on-granting mechanism for adaptation in community buildings that promotes resilience to droughts, floods, and hurricanes. A call for proposal will be issued for community adaptation projects of up to $250,000 US, which will be assessed using transparent evaluation criteria established and utilized by the Small Grants Program and the Green Climate Fund. Between 4 to 6 grants will be provided to community organizations targeting the strengthening of existing communal and public good building structures, such as shelters and community buildings. Successful applicants will receive a small preparation grant of up to $5,000 US to develop the proposal, and communities will implement the projects. To qualify for on-granting under Component 3, the organizations must be a registered community group under national law and able to mobilize cash and in-kind co-financing of at least 25% of the total project budget. This can be achieved through free labor, plan drawings, contractors working for free, materials from community members and or businesses. The grant targets the strengthening of existing communal and public good building structures. Activities that are eligible for funding include water management use and efficiency, example, water recycling systems or rainwater harvesting and storage. Renovation of current structures to make climate-smart buildings. This would be undertaken through the implementation of sustainable building practices and renovation of facilities to withstand extreme climate events. Examples here, roof insulation and climate change resilience to existing storage structures, so you can get funding for building of safety rooms and bunkers. Flood control, increasing of foundation heights, structural adjustments that increase climate change resilience, roof reinforcements, and strengthening of windows and doors by installing hurricane shelters. The Global Environment Facility Small Grants Program, GEF SGP, having met the established GCF selection criteria, was selected as a service provider for Component 3 in March 2021. The selection was also based on a careful review of its policies and procedures and its vast experience in implementing projects in the region and in Dominica. GEF SGP embodies the very essence of sustainable development by thinking globally and acting locally. The GEF SGP program has over the years provided grants directly to local communities, including indigenous people, community-based organizations, and other non-governmental groups for projects in many areas, including adaptation. Additionally, GEF SGP provides financial and technical support to projects that conserve and restore the environment while enhancing people's well-being and livelihoods. SGP demonstrates that community action can maintain the fine balance between human needs and environmental imperatives. SGP, through the National Coordinator, Ms. Agnes Esprit, has worked and continued to collaborate with the EDA Project Office team over the past months to get to where we are today. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Esprit and the UNDP local and regional office for their cooperation. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the staff of the Ministry of Environment for their assistance and the rest of the EDA team. We are small, 3 in number. However, we are not daunted by the task ahead. We are moving full steam ahead with implementation, and we will meet again to launch the remaining 2 components in the first quarter of 2022. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Kelshel, for your background, very detailed. And permit me to recognize the presence of the PSC in the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Kira Paul, who's also the GCF focal point, and Dr. Jajak, who's the acting chief development planner in the Ministry of Planning. As alluded by Ms. Kelshel, the GEF Small Grants Program is very critical towards the implementation of this program, and they're working very closely with us at the Ministry of Environment to implement this project. So with us this morning, we have Mr. Kevin Vidal, who is the chairperson of the National Steering Committee of the GEF Small Grants Program, and he will address us. Mr. Vidal.
Thank you very much. Protocol has already established, but I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Minister Vince Henderson, Dr. Vince Henderson, Minister of Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development and Renewable Energy, and also Honorable Kozia Frederick, Minister of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment, the other members of the head table. And we have the other PSCs here with us today. Good morning to you, the media and the listening public. It is a pleasure and privilege to represent the Global Environment Facility Small Grant Program at this project launching ceremony as chairman of the National Steering Committee. I bring you greetings from our various donors, implementing partners, colleagues, my fellow NSC members, grantees, and the wider civil society. In her letter of 4th October 2021, the SGP Global Manager, Yoko Watanabe, acknowledged the partnership between the GEF Small Grant Program and the Government of Dominica, acting through the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, and Kalinago Affairs. She confirmed the critical importance of multi-stakeholder cooperation and partnership to the success of the Small Grant Program. The partnership is indeed one of great significance to the SGP. It confirms the acknowledgement of the success of SGP procedures and practices in its operation, and in particular this instance in the grant-making processes. In fact, it is the SGP's successes attained with its modalities, working with local communities in over 100 countries globally, that influence the recognition and selection of SGP as partner in this implementation of Component 3 of the Green Climate Fund Enhanced Direct Access Grant Project, Green Climate Fund Enhanced Direct Access Project in Dominica. The GEF SGP is a corporate program of the Global Environment Facility. The program is implemented by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and executed by the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS. Among our partners are local communities, the poor and marginalized population, including women, youth, indigenous people, and persons with disabilities. SGP aligns its strategies with that of GEF and co-financing partners to support the civil societies to implement a global portfolio of innovative, inclusive, and impactful projects that address global environmental challenges and local sustainable development needs. The partnership with the Ministry of Environment with funding from the Green Climate Fund is one which will contribute in particular to SGP's focal area of climate change, supporting targeted communities to take action that will increase community resilience and thus be better able to adapt and cope with the impact of climate change. Action at the community level will build capacity, improve structures and environment, empower local communities, and enhance overall sense of ownership and security. As partner in this endeavor, SGP brings 25 years of operational experience in Dominica with effectiveness and efficiency, thus trust and confidence of donors, partners, and grantees. These qualities are what has significantly influenced the selection of SGP as the partner for delivering this component of the Enhanced Direct Assistance Access Project. Under this component 3, SGP will undertake community outreach, capacity building initiatives to prepare and support organizations for application of grant and project implementation, and will participate in monitoring and evaluation activities. SGP decision-making body, the National Steering Committee, with majority of the membership from civil societies, will apply SGP grant-making procedures and practices in selecting of the projects. It is indeed these SGP practices which have influenced SGP to become a choice partner for this EDA component 3. However, SGP has incorporated requirements of the Green Climate Fund for this project and will rely on the National Climate Change Committee for technical review of the project selected. The SGP country team is very small. In fact, we only have a national coordinator as staff, supported by the committed volunteer National Steering Committee, but we get our job done. So far in Dominica, 122 projects have been funded over the 25 years, and now we are preparing for the approval of a new cohort of projects to begin in January 2022. These projects will be in the strategic areas of community-based conservation of threatened species, sustainable agriculture and fisheries, and food security, and chemicals and waste management. So too, with the support of the relevant parties and responsibilities for collaboration as defined in this project concept note, we will get this GCF EDA component 3 done. SGP Dominica team is committed and look forward to a close collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, and Kalinago Upliftment in the delivery of this project and to the benefit of our civil society organizations, our communities, and our country by extension. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vidal. For the past couple of weeks, I've been assisting Minister Frederick, and I could sense his passion for this project in particular. And not just for this project, but for the work that he does at the Ministry of Environment. So I'm happy this morning to introduce Minister Frederick to provide some remarks on this very important day.
Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, the representative of the Prime Minister, the Minister for Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development, and Renewable Energy. Mr. Roland Royer, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization and Economic Upliftment. Mrs. Gloria Schilling Joseph, Permanent Secretary, Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development, and Renewable Energy. Dr. Kira Paul, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Blue and Green Economy, Agriculture, and Food Security, and also the Green Climate Fund Focal Point. Dr. Gerard Jean-Jacques, Acting Chief Development Planner. Ms. Hilda Kelshal, Country Coordinator, GCF, EDA Project. Mrs. Amanda Shillingford, Technical Officer, GCF Enhanced Direct Access Project. Mr. Kevin Del Sol Vidal, Chairman, National Steering Committee, Global Environmental Facility, Small Grants Program. Members of the media, good morning. Today I'm delighted that we can launch Component 3 of our Green Climate Fund Enhanced Direct Access Project, which we refer to as the GCF EDA project. It has been a very interesting journey, and the work undertaken by the EDA regional and country staff is commendable. We have also been given tremendous support by Ambassador Blacklin and her team at the Department of Environment in Antigua. The dedication of PS Fagan and AS Caban and now PS Royer, along with numerous public officers, ensured that we are ready for the new year. In a nutshell, this GCF EDA project is a very simple but a very progressive one. It is simple because the intentions are very, very clear. And it is progressive because it allows public and private entities to access funds at the national, the subnational, and at the regional level. In our case, it means that everyone can participate fully in the movement to make our island the first climate resilient country in the world. It is timely at a period when our country is battling with the effects of climate change and also the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. We are not daunted, however, because we have some key players. We have an accredited entity to the GCF, that is the Department of Environment of Antigua and Barbuda. We have another key player in the executing agency, which is the ministry itself, the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization and Economic Upliftment. And we also have a key player in our service provider, what we call the Jeff SGP. And so we are targeted today to ensure that community resilience to climate impacts can be enhanced through some very real adaptation benefits. This component will give enhanced direct access to civil society groups and NGOs through an on-granting mechanism for adaptation at the community level. The call for proposals have been developed and approved for publication by our ministry, and it will be issued for the community adaptation project. As a result, grants will be provided to community organizations targeting the strengthening of existing communal and public good building structures. The communities will implement adaptation projects with tangible benefits. Now, the main beneficiaries from the implementation of the project activities will be communities from the eco-based adaptation and community resilient intervention. And so we look forward to some progressive projects coming out of this exercise. It is expected that they will all contribute to the development of a dynamic Dominica. Comrades, friends, Dominicans, we must be mindful that as a small island developing state, we are on the front lines of the war on climate change. This is not a cliche. It is the reality that we faced as recently as 2017, when one of the most powerful Atlantic storms on record wiped off over more than 226% of our GDP. We didn't allow that to cripple us. We regrouped and we developed a national resilient development strategy and also a climate resilience recovery plan with clear targets to be achieved by 2030. We have created a roadmap for our mitigation and adaptation goals. This focuses on building strong communities, a robust economy, and well-planned and durable infrastructure. It is also important for us to build greater individual and community resilience. This is because we are seeing more frequent and more intense storms affecting us in the region. This results in greater damage, loss of life, and livelihoods. We are ensuring at the government level that resilience is at the core of everything. We are ensuring that it is reflected in our laws, in our policies, in our sector plans and strategies, so that there's a whole government approach to resilience. We are also working with communities to ensure that weaknesses are identified and appropriate action taken to minimize risk. We are also prioritizing building a robust economy. This focuses on key elements of skill development, access to finance, diversification of revenue streams, and risk transfer. By far, the most significant financial losses that we have suffered is in the infrastructure sector. This impacts in particular the speed of recovery in the economy. We therefore are taking deliberate action to improve our public infrastructure and to support the strengthening of private infrastructure. We have updated our building codes. We ensure that new infrastructures like roads, bridges, and schools are built to resilient standards. Our government has committed to building 5,000 resilient homes, and we are well on the way to achieving this. We are putting the building blocks in place to weather-proof our country from the impacts of climate change. We are approaching this in a holistic way to ensure that our youth and the future generations can continue to enjoy a reasonable standard of living. We must all continue to prepare and adapt to the changing climate for our survival. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Frederick. It's with pleasure now I would like to introduce you to Dr. Vince Henderson, the Minister for Planning, to address us.
Thank you very much, P.S. Roy. And yeah, I look forward to the day when a Ministry for Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development, and Renewable Energy will be referred to as the Ministry for Planning. In fact, when we consider planning, physical planning, that is, economic development, climate resilience, sustainable development, and renewable energy, it's all the same. Mm-hmm. I remember years ago when we started pushing with the agenda of sustainable development, the intention was that sustainable development would no longer be a standalone term, but would become development. Similarly, with physical planning, it was always felt that sustainable development should be part of physical planning. Today, we are seeking to build the world's first climate resilient nation. Climate resilience should become, eventually will become, part of planning and part of development. So you're correct, yes, Minister of Planning, but that's in the future. And I hope in that future you will be somewhere closer. Pleasant good morning to everyone. Minister, Comrade Minister. And I'm not sure of the Kalinago salutation, but comrade is good enough. It encompasses the whole embodiment of who we are as people of African and Kalinago descent. PS of the ministry and our friends here from the media. Well, I don't know if we should say medium. But first of all, let me begin by thanking you, Minister, and commending you and your staff for your efforts, persistently pursuing the GCF, the Green Climate Fund, Enhanced Direct Access Program. I know this initiative went a little further than your introduction into government as the minister, and it was being pursued for years. My good friend, Ambassador Diane Blacklin, led the charge in the Department of Environment in Antigua and Barbuda to ensure that we in the OECS, at least some of us, would have access to the Green Climate Fund. So I also want to commend her for her efforts and for her persistence, steadfastly pursuing access to resources. This component 3 of the enhanced direct access of the Green Climate Fund will undoubtedly reach out to communities. And as I know the Global Environment Facility has as one of its mantra, the grassroots project, really reaching out to people, non-state actors, and communities to strengthen the implementation of projects at the ground level. So I have no doubt this will add to that store and will bring some direct support to our communities and our community-based organizations. The Green Climate Fund, when it was established almost a decade ago, was established to ensure that small island developing states like Dominica would have access to financial resources to help in adaptation and in the building of resilience. That facility was not created out of the generosity of the major polluters, but as part of climate justice for small island developing states, which remain at the front line of climate change. Today, we are accessing resources from the GCF, and it is my hope, as the minister whom you didn't invite, so I will speak on behalf of the Ministry of Planning, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, Sustainable Development, and Renewable Energy, that it is my hope that we will be able in 2022 refocus our engagement in the GCF in such a way that we can minimize the transaction cost and to ensure that we can in fact draw down significant resources from such a huge facility in the tune of billions of dollars. I'm not sure Dr. Paul can help me with that, but I know that the capitalization of the GCF is in the tune of billions of dollars, and we need to ensure that for us to build climate resilience, to ensure sustainable development, we need to make applications to the GCF that are significant, but also over which we would have direct control. What I mean is that the concept of the leaky bucket is a dangerous one, and I think some of us who are familiar with that concept, those of you who have done economics, I think you will be familiar with that concept. I have always been concerned about the concept of the leaky bucket. We create facilities to access for small island developing states, and then there's an intermediary who accesses the funds on our behalf, and another intermediary who accesses the funds on our behalf, and then there is an executing agency, and then there's an implementing agency. And when it gets to the beneficiaries, 5%, 5%, 5% have already been gone and consumed for the administration of that facility. Effectively, what we have seen is that the developed world have created facilities for us, but they have utilized significantly to finance their own activities. It is our hope that in 2022 we can rationalize the GCF on our access to the GCF to ensure that it becomes financing for development in Dominica with greater direction and control of the government of Dominica through the Ministry of Finance. We appreciate the involvement of grassroots and community-based organizations, but we are well aware that they do not have the capacity to implement these projects, and sometimes it becomes a bit onerous on them. As we heard from the coordinator and chairperson of the National Steering Committee of the GEF, Small Grants Program, it's pretty much a bunch of volunteers, a group of people who have volunteered to provide their services, and we commend them for that. But I believe that we are nearing the point where we will not be able to depend on volunteerism if we seek to develop and to build the first climate resilient nation. Having said that, however, we hope that we can continue to work in more effective ways with community-based organizations in a manner that will empower them, but to ensure that they are not stretched beyond their own capabilities. And therefore, I hope that in 2022, we will be able to embark on programs that will provide greater support to those community-based organizations wishing to access facilities such as the GCF EDA and the Jeff's Ball Grants Program, among others. So it is our hope that we'll also work more closely with the UN system, as we recognize that they have a very important role to play. But we must approach our engagement with them in a manner that will ensure that we too can build our own capabilities so that we will have lesser and lesser dependence on their own involvement. So while we embrace the UN system, and we will be soon signing the framework agreement for sustainable development with the UN system, we will be engaging them in a manner to ensure that we will not continually remain dependent on their engagement. In 2022 as well, as we move on along the journey of the implementation of the enhanced direct access of the Green Climate Fund, we look forward to meaningful engagement with the Ministry of Environment, as you are the executing agency. We look forward to that engagement with also the Ministry of Works. You have a very important role to play. And the other line ministries with the responsibilities for the implementation of some of the programs being funded under the GCF EDA. So we look forward to working with you, Minister, and I hope that as early as January, we will see a meeting of the ministries, at least those involved directly in your program, so that we can rationalize and our programs, as well as we can gain greater efficiencies in the things we do, so that the beneficiaries will be able to see more of the resources which you have so kindly accessed for them and on their behalf. Ms. Kelshall and Shillingford, we want to also thank you for your work. I have, as I said, been not directly involved, but indirectly from time to time have been contacted about some of the work that you are now launching, and I'm very, very, very excited as a minister. Is maybe not equally excited, but I think I'm close to that, Minister. I'm excited to see that this program is actually being launched. We look forward to the other components, and we wish you all the best in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Vincent Henderson, for your remarks. To provide us with a vote of thanks, I'll call on Mrs. Amandi Shillingford, please. Yeah.
Good morning to everyone. Protocol has been established. It is indeed a great day for the Ministry of Environment and for the Enhanced Direct Access Project team, both locally and regionally, as we launch this component of the project. Funding under this EDA project makes adaptation to climate change a reality for our most vulnerable populations. We would therefore like to urge organizations and individuals in the various communities to respond to the call for grant proposals and the call for soft loans for adaptation in homes and businesses when that component is launched as well. We cannot always change the direction that the wheel is turning, but we can learn how best to not only survive, but thrive on that ride. To do that, adaptation is key. So let's all take advantage of this timely opportunity. On behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, and Kalinago Upliftment, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Honorable Dr. Vincent Henderson for taking time to be here with us today on this significant occasion. Honorable Kozia Frederick, our Minister, for leading the charge and providing support in getting this project underway. P.S. Royer, for your assistance and guidance in the launching of this component. To the permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Ministry of Agriculture and our GCF focal point person, and also the Chief Development Planner for your support in the other components of this project. A very special thank you to the President of the National Steering Committee of Jeff SGP, Mr. Kevin Vidal. Without SGP, implementation would not be possible. So we want to thank Jeff and the UNDP Regional Office for your collaboration with the ministry thus far, and for all that you will continue to do for successful implementation of this component. To the EDA project team, the staff within the Ministry of Environment to assist us in one way or another, thank you, and may we continue to work together to ensure timely completion of this EDA project. We also want to thank the media and to everyone else who took the time to listen today. I wish you all a blessed and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Shillingford. As of 10:30 this morning, the call for proposal was uploaded on the government website, so it's accessible there. So we have officially launched the call for proposal. This call for proposal has been issued for community adaptation projects up to $250,000 per project. Project will be screened using the EDA selection criteria in conjunction with the JEF SGP selection procedure. Successful applicants will receive a small preparation grant of maximum $5,000 to develop the full proposal with supporting documents. Application forms can be obtained from the Global Environmental Facility Small Grants Program at email gefcp@outlook.com and the EDA Access Project Office at 266-5893 or by email EDA Project Officer at dominica.gov.dm. The deadline for receipt of applications, February 23rd, 2022. Award notification is on March 31st, 2022. And full proposal preparation will be between April 1st to May 31st, 2022, and project implementation period is from June 1st, 2022 to December 2022. With that, I'd like to thank you to everybody for coming, and have a wonderful new year. Thank you. Okay, great stuff. Great fun, thank you. By the time